All right, everybody, it is Tara Boothby, and I am here with Ty Jordan. So Ty Jordan is local celebrity, maybe.
No,
No, you
I
don't
don't.
go by that.
My rugby teammates used to call me that in Winnipeg. That was my nickname. No joke. Local celebrity. It was not fun.
Local celebrity. Okay, so we won't call you that. We'll just call you Ty Jordan.
Yeah, that works. That's fine. We're
Yeah,
Ty.
perfect. Okay, so Ty, thank you so much for taking some time to just talk about you and mental health, and we're gonna talk a little bit, explain a little bit about Bell Let's Talk as well. So I guess for you, Ty, um, if there's people out there that are curious about how to get on the radio or sort of your story, how you ended up where you're at, what is your story?
Hmm. It's funny you say that because the other day I was thinking about Nate. That's where I went to broadcasting school. And I was like, they've never asked me to go back there and talk to those students. Maybe they forgot about me. But yeah, I went to broadcasting school at Nate. Um, I had to work at Pepsi for a year before that to save up for it. And I thought I was going to be way too old for it by the time I got in because I was 19. I thought everyone was going in like straight after being 18. That's not the case. So now, like 10 years later, still doing it. Not a lot of us left from my class. I think there's me and maybe one or two other people still doing it. I know there's one other person. I don't know if someone else is. I'll have to reach out to them. It's been a while. Um, so I took that, and then yeah, you just try to get a job in the industry. They kind of guide you through that. I had to move to Red Deer, then to Brooks. Then I made a stop in Edmonton at another station that's kind of like Virgin. And then I went to Winnipeg and worked at Power 97 for 2 years. I don't know if I'm supposed to say the name, but it's okay. It's for Bell Let's Talk Day, whatever. And then I came back here to work at Virgin Radio.
That's
Yeah.
cool. And is that the same program that Katie went to?
Yeah, I think so. I think she took it to a little before me, a little before my time.
Okay. Yeah, it's interesting too, because the other day I saw on your Instagram and you're saying something like being the oldest 28-year-old. And I was like, it's so interesting to me to view your success, because I would say it looks very successful to be on the radio. It's a passion for people, it's a goal. And then you're only 28. I was like, oh my word, that's pretty impressive.
Soon to be 29. So
There you
almost a
go.
grandparent of it. So
29 is pretty important because it's pretty special. Actually, I thought my 29th birthday was a little bit more special than my 30th. So
okay, well, I'm feeling it. I went for a run the other night and I can feel it in my hips. So
it just gets worse.
that's great. That's phenomenal.
Yeah, exactly.
So much to
Exactly.
look forward to.
So prior to going to Nate, and it's always nice to plug Nate. I think it's a great school. And when people have gone to Nate and they share that with me, they always have something good to say about the programs over there. So that's lovely. But when you were younger, was there any sort of experience or something that set up with you in your mind as a child or adolescence where you said, I think I'm going to go into radio?
I think in high school, when we were like in grade 12, I noticed a lot of kids were getting bummed to have high school end. And like I liked high school, it was fun. But I think like towards the end there, I was ready for it to be over and to see what else was out there. And because I went to Sturgeon Composite High School in Middle Sturgeon County. Mariah also went there. Her and I go way back, so that's crazy. I work with someone who also went there. And I think I just got curious as to what else was going on in the world because I didn't really go to Edmonton that much. And I think right out of high school, I went into improv and I started doing improv a lot and some comedy. And then was like, I think I didn't get into radio school fresh out of high school. So I was like, I'll try it again. I'll try one more time to get in. And if not, I'll figure something else out. But I got in.
Yeah, that's interesting. And it's so, it makes so much sense about improv and comedy. And I never really thought about what a correlation there is between radio show hosts and you're a comedian. So it makes sense that a lot of you guys try out comedy.
I think we're like bad comedians, though. Like we're not good enough to do it full time. So we do like this on the side. I don't know.
Yeah, you get that odd, really great joke in your show, and it's like, if I could just get 20 more, then I'd
Hmm.
try comedy. Interesting. Interesting. And then another thing, so with you, Ty, I think with anybody who watches your show on Virgin 2 to 4 in the afternoons, right? Is you do at times talk about your own mental health experience or just these sort of thoughts about personal wellness.
Hmm.
And that's lovely to see somebody prioritize. So why is it that you choose to prioritize that?
I think a lot of people like to pretend it's not there, and I like to live in the discomfort and accept it. Of it is uncomfortable to think about. Why not bring it up? Because
Yeah.
I that's something I think about a lot. Tara, is that people will just be like they just kind of go through their life and they don't really give it too much thought. And I've always lived in the discomfort of that, like what could happen tomorrow, and that kind of pushes me forward. And then I like to bring that up to just tell other people if they're thinking that way that they're not alone, because that's no one wants to think they're the only one thinking something a certain way. They want to relate.
Yeah, I think that's really such a powerful truth when you notice that is the opposite of love is isolation. And
Mhm.
so when we notice our own fallibility or just whatever's kind of screwed up about us, because we're all a little screwed up, it's so isolating unless we speak it out loud.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think some people don't like to do it though, and I'm almost kind of I don't know if they don't like to or they don't know. It's almost ignorance is bliss in a sort of way. Like they'll listen to music, but they're not listening to the lyrics. I always find that interesting. It's almost
Yeah,
like plays into it.
it that is really interesting as well. That people will have a favorite song and not really know what it's about, and that fits
No.
as well. It's like, how am I tuning into myself and to other people? And it is hard. There's shame, I guess. That's the truth of it. We're ashamed of whatever's wrong with us, and we view mental health as something wrong.
Yeah, isn't that something?
Hmm. Yeah, it's
I think.
interesting. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I think I also like to talk about it on the radio because it starts to bother me enough that I'll get fed up and I'll start being like, "Come on, there's no one else thinking like this."
Yeah, yeah, and that's charming as well, and in a very authentic way. It's like I can't be the only one that's struggling or just not feeling it, especially over the past couple years where our brains have just been so impacted by all the
Mhm.
stress that's going on. I think what was interesting for me over Christmas, I had a real epiphany that I had mental unhealth. And it's so interesting to think about if that's a bit of an occupational hazard for people helpers or psychologists, that sometimes we don't really honor the fact that we have mental health and we have mental unhealth.
Yeah. Do you find like when you're at work though, you can like flick a switch, and then when you're off, you're like, "Oh man, maybe I'm not doing so great." Is that what it's
I
like?
I think so, and it's that is a really good way of viewing it. We all sort of put the switch on, and if we get stuck with that switch on, we're just denying what's not working inside of us, and then we're at risk, right? That whatever's silent, whatever. I think it's Brene Brown who says, if you can speak it, then you can manage it. But there's different theorists or authors that will say something like that. Just that the relief, it's the psychological relief of something coming out of our mouth.
You're the first, like the second person I mean to like mention Brene Brown this week. I heard it on a podcast recently.
She's actually awesome. Like she really is super easy to listen to and get something out of. So that's a definite little tool to put in our toolbox, is finding those really good speakers who give us some sort of insight or something that we can
Very
integrate it.
introspective.
Introspective. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Yeah. So then prioritizing your mental health. And I guess, like, do you view yourself as a bit of an advocate for mental health, mental wellness?
I think so. I've known so many people who have been affected by it that I don't take it lightly at all. I think when I do talk about it, though, I like to do it for real. Like I find like with social media, there's a lot of fakeness on there, and social media is a weird place. So if you're gonna, there's a lot of people who say they're authentic on there and they're not, and you can tell. I mean, maybe I can just tell because I have to be on there all day for work. Like I always like to say, like I can tell how a person's doing. I think just by going through their Instagram or Twitter, like you can see if someone's faking it. I think you can see through it,
Yeah.
whether it's happiness or like a message or whatever it may be. Like you can tell. I think, after you spend enough time on there, which I don't recommend anyone should do unless you're a radio host. Like no one should be on there as much as me.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I've been thinking about TikToks and Reels lately, and how people kind of cheapen their brand by being funny or the pointing thing and trying to do something that is mainstream. And what I notice, especially with our YouTube, actually, because I think we put out really high quality content, it's a free mental health resource, and it's not as popular as I would expect because it's real.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like this strangeness of the lure of just what is social media and trying to be celebrity versus putting stuff out there that actually might be a respite when people are scrolling through their TikToks or on YouTube. I'm not going to be Ryan's toy review to make millions of dollars.
Oh yeah, that kid makes tons. Yeah, but also smaller audience. I think you can be a little more impactful with them. Like with doing improv, I wasn't selling out thousands of seats, but we had a couple nights where we'd sell out the house, and it'd be like 100 people there, and much more intimate show.
Yeah,
that's the way I deal with stuff like that. Like it just is what it is, you know.
yeah.
If you're doing it because you like doing it, then it's fun. That's what's important.
Exactly. And I think it's sort of like even if 10% of the audience gets something out of it, and that's probably a huge part of your testimony as well, Ty, is that you put it out there, and if it gets to one person, that's great. And some people are just sort of an autopilot, not necessarily listening. Yeah. So.
I think that's interesting. Yeah. The way I look at it is I've had it where it's both sides. I've had it where I've worked places where I felt like no one knew I was even on the radio or what I did. And then when I was in Winnipeg, I still get messages about working there to this day, which is mind blowing. Someone asked me over Christmas why I left there, and it was 2.5 years ago. And I was like, they're still asking about that? Like that blows my mind, but
yeah,
here's what it is. So I usually write them a pretty thorough response. So
that's cool. And I mean, Winnipeg is a place worth shouting out to because it's like a real community. There's lots of lovely people from Winnipeg.
Yeah, I had a really good time. I've been wanting to go back out there and visit, but the damn pandemic.
Yeah, and it's so far, and then it's so windy when you get there.
Mm-hmm. I got to go in the summer when it's like plus 40. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, exactly. So really cool stuff. And I was just, it's so neat when I talk to somebody and there's some similar tracks, when you're talking about your improv. Last night I was thinking about Kim Mitchell, who I love. Yeah, and I love that guy. When I was younger and his Patio Lanterns came out, I just like really didn't get it. But then as an adult, I'm like, I get that now. And I saw Kim play a big show with like Tom Cochran, and he just nailed it. And then I saw him play like the smallest show ever on White, and he just nailed it. And it's that sort of that let's meet people where they're at. That's something about promoting mental wellness as well, I guess.
Yeah, and just it doesn't have to be a big grandiose thing, and like it doesn't have to be. I think also mental wellness, like people when they think about it, can get super intense, which it can. Like I've had chats that have been pretty intense with psychologists, but sometimes it's just about talking about things that are on your mind that could frustrate you a bit. Like one of the things I like to talk about is people being like, well, how are you listening to music and you don't listen to the lyrics? You just let it just out the ear. That blows my mind. I talk about that a lot, and that never gets like intense and like me sweating and thinking about too deep. It's just something that I usually have to get off my head.
Yeah. Yeah. Pet peeve. And I think it's like, I guess when we're talking about what is authentic and mental wellness, when you took your course in NATE, you had no idea that you'd have this really cool career with all these cool stops at different stations.
Yeah.
So it's that sort of intrinsic motivation. Something was inside of you before you walked into that first NATE class that just wanted to reach this academic goal.
Yeah, NATE's it's a weird experience, that broadcasting program. It's like a reality show, I would say. It's like a social experiment because I think most college courses you go to these classes and you've these other classmates and you never see them again. where it was with Nate, you're stuck with these people, like 12 of you for 2 years, and you go all the classes together. You have to stay late at night to do the courses because they don't have enough equipment. Like they got a lot of equipment, but they don't have enough for everyone. So you have to book your time. And you see and know these people, and you become friends with them no matter which walk of life you're from. And like that's something really interesting to learn at a young age.
Mhm.
And I still talk to a lot of them, a lot of those people, and some of them don't work in the industry anymore, and some of them do.
Yeah, yeah, and that's so cool, that magical experience of actually getting an education. So this too, just at the sidebar of we're really promoting. It's so fun to get educated after high school. It's so different.
Oh yeah, it's like when I was saying when I was ready for high school to be over. It's like I knew that I had seen all there was to see. It felt like, and when I went to college, I was like, this is fun. Like this is different. It's exactly what I thought was maybe out there, like something new,
Yeah,
meeting new people. So it
that's
was
cool,
very,
Ty. Yeah, super cool. Lots of. So there's some well-roundedness to you. You're not just a radio show host.
I mean, I guess so. Maybe I've done some things. I've lived some lives, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. And then are you okay you just had COVID too?
Yeah, I did. It was not fun. Me and a coworker got it. I won't say who, but two of us got it. I think maybe one more. They didn't say it was connected to the building. I don't know where we all got it from. There's only three in the
Yeah,
building. So that's pretty good. I know one radio station here in the city got hit pretty hard by it, but it was just 2 weeks of being stuck at home. Played a
yeah.
lot of video games. Shout out to Stardew Valley. I played that for like way too long. It's just a little farming game where you talk to people in a town and try to make it better.
And then was that over Christmas?
I was just after Christmas, so I think
Oh,
I got it on the 28th, and then the 2 weeks were up. They said like 5 days isolation, and I was like, I'm not doing that. I'm gonna wait till I'm good. Like
yeah.
I was supposed to go see my niece and nephew the other day, and I was like, I'm not going over there. Just don't want to live with that stress. So, and everyone who I know who's had COVID had it differently. Like some people were laying in bed, like just sweating, and I was just coughing. Like I could not stop coughing. It was so bad that I would have a coffee at like 7 p.m. because I was like, oh, I'm not going to sleep. Might as well just have a coffee now and enjoy it. I like coffee. I'll drink it at any time of day, but I guess now as I'm getting older, approaching to that 29, it's keeping me up at night. So,
Yeah, it does change. And that's interesting. Yeah. And thank you for saying quarantined until you felt sure of it. That's a good example as well, because it's just so hard to know what to do with the COVID stuff. I'm glad you didn't get it too bad, but the cough sounds awful.
yeah, it was not great. I've been running and trying to get my lungs back up. I don't know if, when I'll be able to do a nice pace 5K again, but maybe in the summer, we'll see.
Yeah, well, good for you. And running is one of the best things we can do for our mental health as well. That's what the research
Great.
says.
You compete
Yeah.
against yourself. There's no one else. So.
Well, it's the bilateral stimulation as well. It cools down a hot brain.
Yeah, I like to just go and I like as I get older, my joints and muscles hurt more. And I never thought I'd be someone who liked jogging because I always thought it was too slow, and it is slow, but I don't mind it because I'll just put on like a podcast and I'll go for a little jog, and I don't care. And people are probably watching me like, is that guy even moving? Is he walking? What is he doing? And I don't care. I can get it done.
Yeah. And who's your favorite podcaster right now?
I've always listened to Comedy Bang Bang. It used to have a TV show, an improv podcast. So of course I like it. And he just gets on real celebrities, and then he'll get on these celebrity actors to play fake celebrities that couldn't possibly exist with fake occupations, and they stay in character the whole interview. I find that really interesting. Some people like true crime. I like comedy podcasts, just the way I've been.
That's awesome. That sounds actually kind of fun. So I'm going to put that on my list to check out. And just sort of as we're winding things down here. So Bell Let's Talk, it's coming up in a couple of days here. So what is Bell Let's Talk? What do we do?
I believe you send a text, a tweet, a Facebook message, Instagram post, anything, Snapchat maybe, with the Bell Let's Talk filter, the hashtag Bell Let's Talk Day. And it raises 5 cents per message. I should know this better, but it's like, it just is a blur to me. It comes up and then we hit it. And I like it, but I do think I have my only problem is I wish we didn't need a Bell Let's Talk Day. Like, I think it's a good thing.
Yeah.
But I wish we didn't need it. I wish it was just, we were able to talk about it all the time. I mean, I think we're getting there, and it's partially due to the day, but I think there needs to be more, you know?
Yeah, I agree with you. But then it's that natural sort of shame spiral, that shame
Yeah.
difficulty that we want to hide things. You know, if we see something wrong with ourselves, we try to put it away. And if there's a way to visualize and create content in our conscious mind that says mental health is okay, it's okay that I feel like shit,
Hmm.
um, then we can change some of our subconscious picture. So, like for you and your openness to notice, okay, I don't feel this great, or that's not working for me, to have tools in your toolbox for your mental wellness, you've had some subconscious shifts.
Yeah. And I
Mhm.
think with Bell Let's Talk Day, it's just maybe we'll make people look internally, I guess. And that's always good. Like, I don't dislike the day. I just mean, like, I wish we didn't. One day we're going to get to a point where we don't need Bell Let's Talk Day. And that's when Bell Let's Talk Day will have done what it was meant to do. That's what
Yes.
I, so let's hope we get to that goal. And I always say, like, with those toolkits you were just saying, I was like, and if you're not feeling therapy yet, maybe watch Ted Lasso, give that show a go. That's pretty close to it.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff. Like we noticed Brene Brown, she's got beautiful
He's a
YouTube.
big Ted Lasso fan.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, like there's so many amazing resources out there. And what I hear you saying about Bell Let's Talk is it's more like Valentine's Day. Like, why do we need one day to celebrate love? Like, it gets that sort of like, I want to do
Yeah.
this daily rather than having one day.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's exactly it. Like, it's a good thing to have, but I just want to see more progress. But it's
Yes.
not up to Bell or Bell Let's Talk Day to do it. It's up to all of us, right? That's the issue.
Well,
We
and
gotta.
this conversation is proof that some of what they're doing is working.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all part of the cog that just keeps on turning it and trying to move the wheel forward.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. And that's it. We just keep moving forward, crawl, stumble, whatever it takes.
What
Sometimes
would you,
run.
what would you say to people? Because I know a lot of people who like they enjoy Bell Let's Talk Day. They'll tweet about it. They'll talk about their mental health. But then when push comes to shove, they don't want to go get the therapy. What's something you would say to them?
Um, oh, therapy is awesome. I mean, I can see why it's hard. And for me, I didn't have therapy until after I was a psychologist, actually. So I get it. And um, most people have insurance. So why not? You know, if you have massage benefits and you're not using them, then that's a great tragedy, just as much as psychological care. And I'm kind of like, what's the worst that could happen?
Yeah.
Now, there's some bad therapy that could happen, but then you have that experience and maybe it's funny or maybe it's just like painful. And then you can process that with your next clinician.
Because if you don't go, it's not like those thoughts and those feelings are going to go away.
Yeah, exactly. And so much about therapy is this corrective experience, you know, it's the energy in the room and that shift. So I would say it, there's a lot of amazing mental health professionals in Edmonton area and Alberta. And I have a lot of trust for our colleagues, the bigger picture of what Alberta's doing for mental health. Um, and then there's some weird therapists, and those ones are really fun to meet.
Yeah.
Like they are. There's some really quirky people in this profession, and they're fun. They're fun to meet.
All right. That's all I needed to know. I was just like, like you said, like, what's the worst that can happen? I think that's the way to put it. Like,
Exactly.
maybe that's what I'll start saying to them.
Yeah. Okay. So thank you, Ty. And just, reminder for Bell Let's Talk, I'll put some of the information in our description here. And if you're not listening to Virgin Radio, I think they're a great radio station.
We're the best, especially from 3 to 7. Yeah. I'm just kidding, plugging my own show.
3 to 7.
Yeah,
And the humility, the truth of it, that you are the best. You heard it here first, everybody.
that's right. I actually got my time wrong. It's 2 to 7. I just realized
Two
that.
to
I guess I
seven.
need more of this.
There you go. And I thought it was 2 to 4. So
I mean, yeah, maybe I wind down a bit after 4 o'clock. We'll see. Caffeine
the
probably.
past the last 3 hours are just,
Yeah, the first bit though, can't miss it.
there you go. Perfect. Okay. Thanks so much, Ty.
No worries. Thank you.